Coach Jeffery, you ready to do this thing, man?
Hey, let's get it.
Let's run it.
KTTV, giving you what you need. Motivation, education unleashed. H-Town representing, we forever keep it rolling. Join the conversation with inspirational stories. Thought-provoking, feel the energy. Kendrick Thomas aiming to lift the community. True indeed, tune in, come and see. Giving you what you need. KTTV, let's go. KTTV.
What to do, KTTV? This is KT, and I am coming at you live with the second episode of Education Unleashed. And on tonight's episode, I have the principal, the award-winning podcast host, author, and coach, Principal William Coach Jeffery. How you doing tonight, Mr. Jeffery?
Hey, man, thank you for getting all of my titles, Mr. Thomas. I sure appreciate it.
Hey, man, look, man, they always told me, give them the flowers while they living, man. So we're going to represent everything tonight, brother.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. So, man, before we jump into things, you know, it's crazy out here. So we got to do that wellness check, man. How have you been doing? And how have you been making it through this crazy time we've been leading in?
Well, man, I first want to give honor to God and Jesus Christ, who's the head of my life. I know that I can't make it without it and without him and his blessings that he's provided for me to be where I am. And one of the things that I like to keep in mind is that as hard as it has been, that the Lord chose my life for this time. And so it's not an accident that I'm here and I'm supposed to be an overcomer. And so that's the way I look at it. It's been rough, but it's supposed to be. And I'm supposed to be a subduer. I'm supposed to be a king, and I'm supposed to be a leader. And no matter what I'm doing, that's what I need to have my focus on and to glory God in whatever I do. So that's how I'm going.
Come on, man. I love it, bro. That is the way it should be, man. It's always two ways to look at that struggle. You can look at it as it's going to make me better on the other side, or you look at it as if they're trying to make me quit. Hey, but we're going to keep it on we're going to keep it on the other side, and we're going to push through, brother. Man, I appreciate just that energy that you give from that answer. So, man, for those that don't know, all the titles I just put down there, man, give us a little bit of background on you and some of your work in education.
Okay, then I'm gonna try to make it real slick, real short. I started off in education on accident. It's not something that I wanted to do. I was a medical school student at Prairie View University, wanted to go to pharmacy school, couldn't pass the test. I'm a special education student. So, I had a lot of reasons to fail. However, I stumbled up on teaching as I was working as a pharmacy technician. I had already graduated from college. I was working at Bentob Hospital, and they needed somebody to teach night classes to pharmacy technicians at a place called Remington College. That's where I started my teaching career. I taught there for 2.5, 3 years. And then I loved teaching so much that I decided that I would teach science at Jefferson Davis High School. I stayed there for about, I say 11 years, maybe it was 9, I don't know, somewhere between 9 and 11 years. Had great mentorship, had great leaders, had great people to work with, molded me as a teacher. From there, I was also a basketball coach, football coach. I loved it. I thought I was going to coach in the NBA. I was looking for just opportunities to coaching, but I ended up being around great teachers. From there, I went to George Bush High School to work with the legendary Ronnie Courtney, who just taught me everything I need to know as far as about being a leader. And then I was also growing in technology education at that particular time. I was also getting my feet wet because I was actually really good at technology at Jeff Davis High School. And then I carried over to Fort Bend ISD. From there, I got promotions to be a digital learning specialist. And then from a digital learning specialist at Fort Bend, they got rid of our jobs. And so that was a blessing in disguise because I ended up becoming the K-12 science coordinator for Lamar Consolidated. I did that for about 2 years, and then I became an assistant principal And as an assistant principal in Columbia, Brazoria ISD is where I'm currently at. I've been here for the last 4 years, and I'm currently the principal. Had great mentorship, have a great superintendent in Stephen Galloway, have a great assistant superintendent in Chris Miller. All those people have mentored me. There's so many mentorship people mentored me that I can just name drop a whole episode.
Hey, that's it, man. But you always got to have them good leaders, because it's always good to listen to people. But if they can go and talk from experience, and you can show me what you did to get there, then let's work. That's
Yeah.
it, brother, man. So thinking about the career, one thing you got to talk to me about was being the first Black brother K-12 science coordinator in LCISD. Look, man, how long ago was that? And how was it received?
That was about 2016, 2017. And I need to start where, first of all, I had an excellent mentor. See, this is why I said this earlier when I wasn't being facetious, that God has ordained this time for me to be in it, because there are people there who had to be placed there in order for me to be successful. And one person in particular, his name is Dr. Michael Milstead. Dr. Michael Milstead took me underneath his wing because he was the first Black principal at Lamar Consolidated High School. And so he had traversed some of the nature that I was traversing. But the good thing is that ultimately we found a common ground with people who wanted to work with children. Some people couldn't get over my skin color. To this day, that's just what it is. Some people are not going to get over your skin color, but the common ground was that he wouldn't let me be negative about anything. Every experience that I was given to me, any adversity that came and I wanted to go and I wanted to complain, Dr. Michael Milstead just opened my eyes to what leadership should be in that role and how you need to have a form of excellence when you're leading. And so that was my measuring stick. He was encouraging to me. He would drop by my office and say little nuggets. He invited me to the Texas Southern University dinners and things that I just to watch him become inducted into the Texas Southern Hall of Fame for education. And some people didn't have a high opinion of him there, but to get inducted into the Texas Southern University Educational Hall of Fame, that's tremendous.
Gotta talk like
That
you
is
walk.
tremendous. Yeah. So I had a great mentor in that particular case, and there were other men that was there, but the person who took the time to mentor me, to talk to me, to guide me through whatever disagreements or however I presented my stuff. Because another thing too is, like, when you are the only one, you feel like sometimes you got to wear your feelings on your shoulders, and you have to go and show people. It was Dr. Milstead helped me to refine some of those characteristics that I thought that I needed to show.
Come on, man. That's it. Like you say, I was fortunate enough when I came in the A-Leaf to work at one school where I was able to be the teacher, but then also transition over into the AP before I was transferred over this year. And so being able to be with my principal that long, man, like it changed my life. It changed my thought pattern. It just changed everything as far as the way I seen leadership. And so I'm so thankful as I go into a new building to have that skill set, man. But it took that learning, it took that tutelage. So big shouts out to you, man, for even getting there. So now I'm gonna call you a pioneer. We talk about a pioneer of ed tech. So that's the way I was looking forward to framing this podcast conversation tonight, because that's where we going, man. You thinking about that. You were doing 1-to-1 and fostering back then, but I'm knowing districts that are just now getting to 1-to-1 10, 15 years later,
Yeah.
So how did you feel because I know during the pandemic you were leadership, but as a former ed tech specialist, digital learning specialist, How did you feel seeing us go through that pandemic, man, where now you like, I've been telling y'all this all this time, but y'all didn't want to listen. How did you feel, man?
Hey, truth be told, if we just really talking about it, like I was using Google Docs when it was rightly. Okay. When Google Plus came out, I was on Google Buzz. And if we really want to be honest, if Google really be honest and they really look in their archives, they will see that I probably invented Google Classroom because I was on Google Buzz using it with my classroom. I used to talk to people about Google Plus to get Google Plus. They wasn't using it in the classrooms like they were. And when I started in 2005 at Jefferson Davis High School, our average family income at that particular time was $29,000. I think our school at that time was 95% Hispanic, maybe 3% white. And the rest African American. And so we had a lot of reasons for technology not to flourish in that particular high school. And I had a great mentoring principal, Jaime Castaneda, who came to my classroom one day and he said, I got this guy coming in from Mimeo and I want you to see how to use this Mimeo. When I come in your classroom, you better be using it. And so that's how I got inducted into using technology. I would learn to teach with the Mimeo thing. And then from there, I went and got all of the old computers and put them in my classroom. And then I started to use Google Buzz. And I would put stuff on Google Buzz. My students would work in it. And at first, it wasn't really understood because I was a science teacher. And they would be like, hey, man, what's going on? Why are you using all these computers in the classroom? Because it really looked like in those days that I was doing nothing. And so I was just understanding the blended learning model, understanding what SAMR was, and then really looking for resources to teach it because basically I didn't have time to teach the class and then to turn around and grade the papers. And so as a science teacher who was in a struggling school at that particular time to pass the tax test, that's what I needed to do. And I saw great gains on my tax results. And so that's how I continue to incorporate technology into my instruction.
Man, that is it, brother. Like you say, trial by fire. Yeah. And then the funny part is you say back in them days, like, man, what you doing? You're not up in front of what are you doing? Back in the day, we look at old school chalkboard instruction. What your transparency is, man.
Yeah. And you know, man, I used to talk to a lot of teachers when I was back in the day, and one good friend of mine, her name was Seema, who was my department chair, and I used to say, Seema, you working too hard, you doing too much, and she was like, Mr. Jeffrey, you ain't working hard enough, and we used to have just good fun, and I had great mentoring teachers who just showed me the ways, and I also had people who supported my ideas. There was a technology guy, his name was Warner Marsh, that was there, and he made sure I had every old computer I could fit in my classroom. And I probably had, it looks like a computer lab in a science classroom. And that's how my classroom was in 2006 and 2007.
Yeah, man. But you look at it now and, you know, everybody's catching up, but you're seeing how important it is, man, to be able to get that outside knowledge. You know, let's step outside of that textbook and go a few places, man. So back in the day, pushing it forward. Now, fast forward to the 10-year and Fort Bend. Digital learning specialist. I know you said that they got rid of the role, man. So, but when you think about that role and where we are today, how has that role evolved? As in, let's say, the assistance that you get from someone in that role in your district.
So let me go back to some more people. So when I got the role of digital learning specialist, I thought I was hot stuff coming from HISD. Can't nobody at Fort Bend mess with me. I already know what's happening. I got into a role with 24 more amazing educators than were more amazing than me. And that's when I realized that, whoa, I ain't as good as I think I am. And so my boss, her name was Dr. Allegra McGrew. And Dr. Allegra McGrew, her job at that particular time was to mold us into being the best. And so what they did was that whole department, we had secondary specialists and elementary specialists, and I got put on the elementary specialist team. And when I'm telling you, people were writing books. People were writing books about podcasts. People were doing augmented reality, virtual reality. And I'm talking about this is 2014, 2013, when that stuff wasn't even popular. Robotics competitions. So all of my coworkers had amazing capabilities. And I'm in there just trying to see if I can stay afloat with those people and just trying to see what I can learn. In the meantime, I'm still being refined into being a leader, into supporting, because that's how I learned what support was. How do you actually support? How do you bring on a reluctant teacher who does not want to incorporate technology? What are some of the coaching aspects of what is mentor coaching? How does that process work? How do you support a principal? How do you support struggling teachers? How do you support a teacher that's high flying? And so, those are the things that I learned in that role as a digital learning specialist. One of the best times I ever had as a teacher or support staff. I still keep up with almost everybody today in that group. This is how amazing they were. And our nickname was Team Awesome.
So now, do you teach? Do you give your tech specialist a few pointers in the game?
Well, I've learned to not go in trying to give people pointers. I think that I currently as a principal, I don't want to turn off the ability for somebody to grow. Yeah. So now my role is a little bit different. So now my role is definitely that of support. And even in that support role is to give you more and give you more. What Jaime did to me. So Jaime Castaneda, he saw whatever talent he saw, and then he gave me the support that I needed and gave me the opportunity. Sometimes if you go in as a principal and you give people knowledge before you give them support and opportunity, they don't trust you.
Yeah. I agree, brother. Look, I've told you, I'm new school this year, man. It's all, hey, look, man, and it's all really about that, man. Like I told one of my teachers the other day, I say, we can get this thing together as a team. We could put in our support. At the end of the day, I do believe that I make those decisions, but I say I don't do them alone, so, and that's the way it got to be, coming especially to that new school. But yeah, man, I love it, dude. So now how does that, let's say for me, when you go onto a campus, you almost can tell what the principal values by what you see the most. So if I see a lot of tech in that class, I know that's where that principal is putting that budget. As you lead your school, I know that that's for you on the forefront, but thinking about our leadership counterparts, do you have any that you had to kind of get on the bus to kind of show them the benefits of moving toward a digital school?
Well, let me just start off with every school has its own personality. Mm-hmm. And I am actually really lucky to be in a community where people really care about the school. They care about the kids. And when teachers come to my school, they've been there for years. So it's one thing for me to come in and try to change things. It's another thing for me to come in and try to learn the culture and then try to grow teachers in whatever way in order to showcase their talents. Yes, sir. And I have about 5 teachers that I'm thinking of currently right now who I went to this year. And if they watch this, they'll know I told them, I said, this year you will present at a national conference, that this is where you need to be in this level. And the thing is that you got to just really understand where your teachers are. So I think although technology integration is important in the lesson cycle to me, what's even more important is student achievement. And so the issue is I want to make sure that our teachers are supporting student achievement, not only in our school, but becoming a leader in student achievement in the state of Texas and then nationally. I think that is a better use of technology integration because that it serves 2 purposes. It serves for the teacher who has capped out at the school level, who has some ideas, who probably aren't able to share their ideas, or who is maybe not growing the way they should, and who can help other people grow. So that's my mindset as far as bringing education into my school, because I've actually been the head principal since January. And so I'm still on that learning tour. I don't want to go in and change too much. However, but I do recognize we have a bunch of talent and a bunch of opportunities.
Man, January.
Yeah.
Look, how was it? Woo. So position, man. How did you catch it in January, man?
Yeah. So I had I gotta tell you another great story, name drop. My man Scott Moody was the principal of the high school, and he just said that he was tired. After the pandemic, we had a lot of stuff happen. We had a flood that happened in our high school that broke up our floor and messed up a building we was in. So we had a flood, we had the pandemic, we had all kind of stuff going on. And coming out of that, the principal who was there, he was like, "Man, listen, I've been going to school since I was 5 years old, and I'm 65 and I'm tired." So he said he was tired. It was time for him to go. And so he was like, "I'm going to prepare you to take it over." And I guess I had an interim job. I guess that was my interview for it. The school board and the superintendent sat me down, and the superintendent told me what he needed. And, I'm still trying to fulfill what the superintendent wants me to do. That's a whole nother thing, So, but I'm lucky. My superintendent cares about my well-being. He cares about my family. He cares about students. And, I'm lucky to be in a situation like that. And I have support. And so that's why I am where I am, is because they support me. I'm still very lucky, man, because I could be somewhere else where I'm not supported at all, and so I think that's a very important step, especially for a brother. And I hate to go there, but let me tell you, if you are a person of color, a young African-American male, when you are looking to take over a school, you need to pay attention to your support. That is huge.
And as you came into that role, I guess what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned in transitioning when you said, man, as an AP, yeah, man, if I get the job such and such, this, you get there, you're like, oh man, I can't do that. What was
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, you're not even ready. And I remember talking to Dr. Michael Milstead. He said, "Will, being a principal is just different from being an AP. It's nothing you can prepare for. You may, as a principal, you may see something one time that you'll never see again. And sometimes you're wrong if you're right, and you're right if you're wrong." And so that's the thing about being a principal, is you cannot be shy about making decisions, but sometimes your decisions are going to keep you up at night. And sometimes the decision that you don't make will keep you up at night. And so that's the part about being a principal. It is not an easy role. It is not. And it's not for the faint of heart. And, I see why principals last in certain areas. I mean, specifically, I just had a talk with my superintendent about communication. I mean, communication is huge. You would be surprised at what you can say as a principal that as a AP it takes a totally different meaning. And so you just got to be just very aware. Just very aware.
That's it. That's in that limelight. Look, man. I sound like they got the right man for the job. I'll tell you that much.
Oh man, thank you very much, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing I'm here, man. I mean, I was the knuckleheadedest teacher you ever met in your life, man, dude. I ain't nothing to brag on. I'm telling you, I probably should have been fired 3 times. So, and I was lucky to have good students and good coworkers who work with me.
Mm-hmm. And outside of the education, I know you got the podcast, which man, just the title. I know you got 2 going, but the one I want to speak to the principal. Look, man, how did that come about? And what were some of the topics that you covered on that?
Oh man, so that one is the one that I put on hold, and I was going to revive it because it was with my mentor, Dr. Michael Milstead, and so that is what launched the podcasting journey for me because we would have such great conversations that I said, "Hey man, listen, we need to record these conversations because what you're saying is just deep for everybody." And so he was like, "Oh yeah, I got some friends, and we can call our friends." And so we had stuff on, just starting school was one podcast, how to start a school. Another one was special education as a principal, and just different topics that you would want to speak to the principal about. And I've thought about reviving that podcast, but I don't want to do it without my dude, man, because we had so much fun just recording that, and I was like, "Hey man, we're gonna get back on it," but then he got real busy again, and so with my homeboy Dr. Michael Milstead, he is like I said, he's in the Texas Southern Hall of Fame. He works in Lamar as a truancy officer. He just is he's sitting on the board, opening up charter schools across Houston in low income neighborhoods. Like Dr. Milstead is just he is the pinnacle in my opinion. And so what he does is he just does things that a mentor would do. So I'm really kind of waiting for him to slow down because he has just great ideas. He reminds you of Baruti Khalifa. He's one of those, Dr. Khalifa. He is on that level of just, man, just excellence.
Just want to hear him think. Yeah,
he's
but
excellent.
at the same time, just down to earth brothers.
Yeah, just down to earth, sit down, talk, eat barbecue, talk trash, and then hit you in the head with some knowledge.
Hit you in the head right back, man. And then on top of that one, Flipboard EDU, which once again I appreciate you for getting me in there, man. You think about platforms that you don't know about, so I appreciate that invitation, man, to put me in there. But talk to me about the success that you had through that platform.
Well, thank you. So your episode was going to be coming out soon. Just want to let you know we just got a lot of episodes.
Yes, sir. That's good, man. Get them in the hole.
Yeah. So I put you in there. First of all, Flipboard is on 100 million devices. That's the first thing. And it is a company that takes news and aggregates it and puts it into a usable format where you can flip through. I was lucky enough and when I was in Fort Bend to be using it in the classroom, and they did an article on me in about 2015 about making magazines. I think it was their new part, and they saw some of my students would be commenting. I used to make my students comment from using that tool in the classroom, and from there it just blossomed. I'm very blessed. Here's another name drop some more people. I want to name drop Crystal Vanderboom, who is instrumental in getting this podcast going and keeping it running for as long as it did over the pandemic. I want to shout out Marcy McHugh, who is Crystal's boss, who works with it, Mia Quadrilo, who originally interviewed me for the original article, but has worked alongside, and I kept in touch with her on Flipboard. So it's just an amazing group of people who at Flipboard, who I guess I can say I fell in love with them just as nice and as warm as they can be, and they allow me to share my message. And right at the start of the pandemic, I came to them and I said I was looking for educational resources and I couldn't find them. And I would like to put together a podcast and just do it. And they literally said yes. And I was like, I want to use your logo and I want to use your color. And they was like, great. And I don't get paid to do it. I do it for free. And they post it for free. And they tweet. And I say something to them on Twitter and they say something back. It's just they are an amazing company. It's an amazing app. And I love, sharing my podcast through there and writing blogs with them.
Yeah, nice work, man. I'm telling you, just being able to kind of get there and just set up the podcast, but just like you say, so awesome that you can go through it. And but you've been with them for a while, man. That's some longevity. You say 15, you was a user.
Yeah. 2015, I was a user. Before 2015, I can't remember when I started using them. I want to say 2010 because it looked good on an iPad is what happened. Well, whenever I first saw it, maybe it was 2011, maybe it was 2012. I don't remember. But I can tell you that it looked beautiful on the iPad. And about 2015, they did an article on me. And then from there, I mean, I've always used it since then. Like, and I make recipes, I made magazines and share my magazine. And my first magazine, major one, was Coach Jeffery Teaching with Technology. And then I have the Flipboard EDU podcast magazine that I put my episodes in. And then I have another one that I invited you to, which is the Innovative Educators, which we're just trying to get that off the ground because we really want that to be an interactive platform. And Flipboard is such an amazing tool, man. It's built around interest. When educators really dive in and really use it, you don't want to use nothing else. It connects to everything. Yeah. It's great.
Man, that's it, brother. Like I say, I came to you, man, to get into all this tech, man, whether we talking to classroom teachers, we talking to leaders, man, we talking to podcasters that do education, man. You're going to put us in the game, Coach Jeffery. So, man, now, what's next for you, man? What are the goals for this year that you want to hit as a new administrator in the building?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I want to stay married. That's the first thing I want to do. I want to stay married and I want to be a father to my kids. You know, I think that a lot of times, just recently, what I'm noticing is that, life is short. There's one of my favorite comedians just passed away. I hate to go here, but I'm just saying, and you look at the legacy that you leave behind. So number one, the first thing that I want to do is I want my family to be proud that I cared enough for them to try to live a lifestyle where I could be an upstanding person or as upstanding as I could be. How about that? From there,
no former football coaches, man. We try to do what we can do.
Yeah. From there, man, I really want to see my podcast and my school take off. Currently, professionally, I think another priority for me, I have 3. I want to be a leader of an A campus. Right now, we're currently a B campus, according to the Texas Education Agency. And I want to see us get to an A rating, where we were a C rating last year. We're a B rating this year, and I would like to see us be an A rating this next year. I have some great teachers that I work with on a daily basis, great office staff who I work with on a daily basis. Those people keep me motivated and keep me going. And then on top of that, they're children that we lead in that community of West Columbia, Columbia, Brazoria, ISD. Those are great kids. Every school has their unique climate, but I love our kids. They're respectful. They're good people, man. And I want that for them. I want them to have whatever they're going to get out of the metaverse. I want my kids to be the ones to be leading that charge. So that's the goal. I want my community to lead the charge into the future and be good, upstanding people. And then last but not least, I want podcast to just be the new Joe Rogan.
Come on, man. That's it, man. That is it. Education, man. It'll be some crazy conversation. That's why I was like, see, right now, this is the second episode, but before it get over with, that Unleashed is gonna really, really mean something here, man. We got to get that thing out. Man, that's good, brother. Just being able to get more into the game. Congratulations on your principalship. I know it was crazy from January to May, man.
Yeah.
How did you survive that, man? January to May was real.
January to May was real. Again, I had a lot of support. I had the connections that I had. Every old boss that I had, I talked to. Jaime hit me up out the blue. The first principal I had at Jeff Davis High School, Dr. Allegra McGrew, hit me up. Dr. Yvette Blake from Fort Bend hit me up, just gave me encouraging words. Oh my God. Dr. Michael Milstead called me up, gave me encouraging words. My homeboy, Jeremy Sanders, who is now the principal at Hearn High School, he would hit me up, give me encouraging words. My principal who left the thing weekly give me encouraging words. The superintendent will give me encouraging words. The assistant superintendent, encouraging words. I'll give you a prime example. It was I had never officiated graduation, which is a blessing, because if you think about a special ed kid growing up and now has to officiate graduation, I can remember something going wrong, and I turned around and I looked at the assistant superintendent, and out of respect, you know what he said to me? He said, "Hey man, I got it. I'm here to help you."
Yeah.
And that right there meant so much to me, man, because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what to do to fix this situation. I'm on stage. I got something happening over here. And then he said, "What do you need? I got you. I'm here to help you." And hey, man, I mean, I'm set up. It's really a cheat code. I don't even, you know, he is not a black. This is not a black person. This is just a white man who didn't know me from Adam before I took the job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I'm lucky to be with people who care about people, man. So that's where I'm at.
That's it, brother, man. Well, how can we find you? How can we find more about the podcast? Let's blow this thing up.
Yeah. So my podcast is found on every podcasting station there is. Just Flipboard EDU podcast. I think I Want to Speak to the Principal podcast is on just about everyone. It should be TikTok, Facebook, you name it. I know the Flipboard EDU podcast is also found on flipboard.com /educators, and you can find all kind of articles there. Your article will be there pretty soon, so people can get more about the Education Unleashed podcast. So I can't wait to share that too.
Man, that's it, man. I appreciate you, brother. Any final words for our aspiring leaders? Or either them teachers who need to get into their tech and in your old role?
You know, if you're still teaching right now, if you're still a teacher right now, you're doing it for kids. You understand that the lives of children has fundamentally changed since the pandemic. And although you want them to be at their best, they can't be there if you're not at yours. And you also got to remember that people can't be what they cannot see. And I'll leave you with a quick story. There's a story in the Bible where I think it's Joseph was going to go marry Rachel, but he couldn't get her. And so her dad made him work longer for her than what he did. In the meantime, her dad knew, which I think is Laban was her dad. He decided that he wanted him to tend sheep. And so he told him, all the spotted sheep you can have, but all the non-spotted sheep I can have. So Joseph drew spots, and when the sheep would come and drink water, their children produced spots, and he was able to get all of those. And then Laban said, "Hey man, something ain't right, okay? Because now you have more spotted sheep than regular sheep, so we're gonna flip it up on you. So you can now have all of the white sheep, and then I will take all the spotted sheep from now on." So he drew on his board something clear, put it there. So when the sheep came to drink water, they saw it. Then they stopped producing children that were spotted. They all became white. So, and that story told me that you can't be what you cannot see. Yeah. And so our students need that. As educators, you need that. And if you focus on that, I'm guarantee you will see changes. And no matter how the game is flipped, as long as you know that people can't be what they cannot see, then you'll be ahead.
Mic drop. That's it, brother. Look, man, I just want to say thank you for the time today. Thank you for the knowledge. I wish you all the best of luck, man, as you get into that journey for the new school year, man. And the good part is you've already taken the school and been a part of that first A in the school. So I know it is nothing to you to get back to that type of status, man. So hey man, I'm looking forward to hearing the steps you took to get to that A when you get there, brother.
Yeah, I won't get there by myself. It'll be a team effort. It'll be a team effort. It'll be a team
That's it,
effort.
man.
And it's already, it was meant to be. It was already put in the books before I got here. I ain't gonna be able to take no credit whatsoever. That's all in the hands of the good Lord, sir.
Hey, man, that's it. We are not in control.
Yeah, not at all.
That's it, man. Well, I sure appreciate you, brother. And we'll be looking forward to checking out the podcast and looking forward to just, hey, learning more about you, Coach Jeffery. So thank you.
Hey, Mr. Thomas, I appreciate you having me on, man. Anything I can do for you, my brother, I love to kick it with you. Let's figure out how we can present at ISTE together, or maybe get your podcast in there, and that'd be a fun time for us to get together.
That's it, brother. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it here. So when we get ready to make that happen, y'all will know first. All right, this is KT for KTTV signing out. 100.
This is Darnell with Broadcast Houston.
This is Dr. Tamara Beckford.
Hey, this is Candace.
This is London Underwood.
This is Kirsten Bass with Inner City Greens, and you're watching.
Y'all are now tuned in to
KTTV.
KTTV.